all doing very well this late spring day. It's almost summer. In fact, 2 more days until the summer solstice and Father's Day here in the States. I wanted to show you what is under these towels. But first, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that Kaya wanted to make something for the store that she knew everybody liked. So she put together some of the cocoa tea, the cocoa chaga tea that's really good for stress and the immunity. The last time I put it in the shop, it sold out really quickly and a lot of people were wanting more of it. So she made some for you and it's up there in the shop if you are interested. Also in the shop, for those of you who are interested, we'll get the announcements out of the way first off. Also in the Ninja Chickens Etsy shop, which you can find through my website, ninjachickens.org. Also, I have listed the hot chocolate calendars, the holiday calendars, Herbal hot chocolate. So some of you know that I've been working on that. If you hadn't heard of it and you don't know what an advent calendar or a holiday calendar is, it is basically a certain number of days over the holidays to build up to your holiday that you celebrate. So I chose 24 days. If you celebrate Christmas, you can start on December 1st, opening up your first little package. You'll have a special herbal hot chocolate, and for the next, for 24 days up until December 25th, you have your own special mix of hot chocolate. You can do the same thing for the winter solstice, the same thing for Kwanzaa or for Hanukkah. You just start on the first day and build up however you want to so that you end up on your final day of celebration. In the hot chocolate calendar, there's also going to be a number of really awesome goodies that go along with your hot chocolates, either because of the herb or the flavor of the day, or because it's chocolate related, or because it's something I really wanted to share with you. There's a lot of really awesome things, and I just confirmed that there will be a print from Giada Rose, who you guys know I absolutely love. She has done a number of things behind me, and she made a special one just for the hot chocolate calendar. So go take a look. There is going to be international shipping. I've sold about 1/3 of them so far, and I will hopefully have a few more at SAFF. I am going to be vending at the Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair this late October. It's a really big fiber festival for 3 days with classes and all kinds of fiber related stuff, a fleece sale, and sheepdog show and stuff like that. So if you can make it, definitely come on out. But I'm going to have tons of stuff there. I've been working on a lot of that recently, dyeing and eco-printing and creating all kinds of things. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. I think that's it as far as announcements. I'm going to try to cover in this episode a lot of the things that I've been crafting. I haven't been able to talk about them because most of them are for Kaya. So Kaya, if you're watching this episode, just turn it off. I've been wanting, many of you know, I've been putting aside a lot of things for a little hope chest for Kaya as she goes off to college. She's going to be heading out this August to Mount Holyoke, which is about a 13.5-hour drive from here. It's really far away, but she's going to love it. It is just what she needs at this point in her life, and I'm really excited for her. More excited for her than I am sad that she's going to be leaving. I'm going to miss her, but I'm happier that she's going to be happy where she is. So if that makes any sense. So yeah, a lot of the crafting has been for her, so I haven't been able to share it on Instagram, and I'm going to go over some of that today. And hopefully if I get a chance, I'll take a little trip out to the garden because it has exploded since the last time I talked with you in the last episode. And maybe we can harvest some lavender and make a lavender wand. We'll see. Alright, so are you ready for the big reveal? Okay. So you all know that I've been crafting things for Kaya. Excuse me. So that she can take them off to college with her. But Toby wanted a hand in that, so he got together with a neighbor, Steve, and check it out. He made her, out of cherry and black walnut, a gorgeous hope chest. It's funny because when we started talking about this, she actually said, okay, first, I have a small little wooden box that my dad got for me when I was maybe 9 or 10, because I told him I wanted a little treasure chest to put my pen pal letters in, because I had lots of pen pals when I was a kid. So he got me this little treasure chest that had a couple of drawers in it, and I still have it. I absolutely love it. It just has a lot of memories, because it was all my special secrets, all my notes from my friends at school, all my letters from my friends abroad. And now it has herbal medicine and essential oils and stuff in there. So she said to me, you know, Mom, I'd love something like that so that I can put my special treasures in it. And I was like, oh, that's a neat idea, and kind of pretended to blow it off because I knew that we were in the middle of making this. So I will bring you closer for a close-up. It has a secret lock that I'm not going to show you. You can't open it unless you know how to access the secret lock. So, once you open it and get inside, I have everything covered for right now. I'm going to put little notes with each one so she knows what they are. Of course, that's easy to figure out, but the special yarns that I knit them with and anything special about them. So first, you guys have seen this little lady, but what you haven't seen is what's in her purse. So here's Kaya's sweet little mole. And in her purse, I have put some things that she might need when she goes off to college. First, she has some snacks. Oh, it looks like she's munched on this one already. She has 4 cookies that I got from Little Bitty Delights. She makes little stitch markers for knitting and progress keepers, but I asked her if she could make me some cookies without the stitch marker holder, and she made these, which I absolutely love. I think they're so adorable. And one thing that's super sweet about this is at Kaya's college, every weeknight, they have at 9:30 in every dorm common room cookies and milk. So that everybody can take a moment to stop their studies, socialize or relax with each other, and enjoy a sweet treat and, you know, take a breath from the hard day's work. So she's got her cookies. She also has in her little purse a copy of Frankenstein, which is one of Kaya's books. How adorable is that? So she is ready to go. We had thought about giving this whole box to Kaya, actually bringing it up as a secret and giving it to her when she moved into her dorm, but we think it's going to be too hard to figure that out, especially with the size of this box. So we're probably going to give it to her for her birthday, which is in a few days. It's her 18th birthday, so it seems like something special to give to her. So there's her little mole. Next in the box, I made her some cozy Sunday socks, which is my pattern. I thought it'd be nice for her to have some nice socks to keep her feet warm, since she's going to be up in an area that has much colder winter. And then I made her this vest. This is called the Lacy Rib Warmer by Jennifer Miller. And I saw this and just thought it totally looks like Kaya's style. It hugs real close with kind of like an empire waist. It hugs high up in the waist. And it just looked Victorian to me, and I could see her wearing this with a dress underneath. So I made this for her in her favorite colors, black and purple. And then I have just a lotion that I had made, a little spearmint lotion bar. Some lavender essential oil that I got from a place that she and I visited in France a couple years ago. This is a set of naturally dyed embroidery threads that Auntie Mars of Hey Brown Berry got for her to put in there, because she knows Kaya loves embroidery. And these embroidery threads were naturally dyed by Wild Earth Textiles, who is a local friend of mine. Then we have 2 pillowcases so that she can lay her head down on some of the plants from her gardens. And I'll lay these out so you can see them. These are all made with plants that are here in the yard. And the last thing is that red shawl that I'd been working on. And it's really hard to get a good picture of this, but it turned out beautifully. Again, made with plants, all harvested in our yard. And I'm probably going to put a lavender wand in there from some lavender that I harvest in the next couple of days. And that'll be it. So that is a lot of the crafting that I've been doing lately. I realized that though I'll knit any time of the year, the time that I do it the most is probably the late fall and the winter and the early spring. Just because my busiest time at work is the summer, because that's when the gardens are at their fullest, when I'm growing our food and growing the dye plants. And that's when, because the gardens are the fullest, I can use most of the plant material for dyeing and eco-printing. So I don't do a whole lot of crafting in the summer, other than the dyeing and eco-printing that I'm doing. But I have been doing some reading and enjoying a television program that I wanted to tell you about. My mom clued me into a program that's on Netflix called Connected. I think there's only 6 or 7 episodes so far, but it's one of those things like Ologies, if you remember the podcast Ologies that I told you about. It just makes you think, and you always learn something new. For example, this recent episode that I watched was about how 5,000 to 6,000 year old fossils in the Sahara Desert affect hurricanes, the red tide in Florida, the fertility of the Amazon forest, and the oxygen that we breathe. And it's absolutely amazing. And the guy who narrates it, who's the presenter, he's super funny and just makes you excited about the subject he's talking about. So if you have a chance to sit down and you want to learn at the same time as relaxing, Connected is a really nice show. Another thing that I wanted to tell you about is this workbook that I got from Janet Garman, who's Timber Creek Farm on Instagram. And she had reached out and asked if I wanted to see the natural dye workbook that she put together, and I said, sure, I'd love to. I had no idea that this is what she meant. It is a full-on journal workbook book. It has all the information you need to get started with natural dyeing, but it also has pages where you can put your notes, which I love. It's got all the detail. So for example, let's pick one. Avocado pits. That's one that lots of people like. So she shows you, she talks about the avocado pits, talks about the colors you might get, talks about mordants you'll need, materials you'll need, how to dye with them, and then you have a page for your notes, which I think is fabulous because I'm a big note taker. And this is the way, if you want to get into natural dyeing and you want to get better at it, this is the way to learn, to write your notes, figure out what you've done, how the weather, the water, the soil, how the things that you're using might have affected the color that you achieve. And so she's got workbook pages for every dye. Coffee and tea, same thing, how it affects, or what colors you'll get, how to use it, and the process, and then your note page. So if you're looking for something that doesn't feel overwhelming, she hasn't paid me to say this, by the way. I just really wanted to share this with you because so many people email me and say, hey, do you have a class, or do you have a workbook, or do you have some information on how to do this process? This is a really nice place to start. I mean, it's great for people who know how to dye anyway, just because I love the workbook pages and I like learning other people's processes. But especially for those of you who want to get started, this is a really nice workbook to get you started. It's not overwhelming, but it has everything that you need. So it's called Natural Dyes on Wool with Timber Creek Farm, a journaling workbook by Janet Garman, and I'll put a link below so that you can get right to it because it's really good. She has a really lovely Instagram site too, Timber Creek Farm. Again, I'll link that below. So I just wanted to tell you about that. And the other book that I read that I thought was really interesting is a bit more morbid than the Natural Dyeing Workbook. I'd mentioned it on Instagram in my stories, but some of you might know that I actually went to school for a little while. After I had Kaya, I went back for my master's and thought I might want to be a research librarian because I really like finding out information. So I love books. I love information searching and learning about new things, right? So Okay, so this book is called Dark Archives by Megan Rosenbloom. It is a librarian's investigation into the science and history of books bound in human skin. So we know books were bound in leather. We know they were bound in pig skin and in other types of flesh. But human skin. So she had heard that there was a book that had been bound in human skin, and so she went to investigate. And what she found was kind of a crazy adventure. How some books were related, who did it, how they did it, why they did it, and in some cases even was able to find the history of the people whose skin was used. Yeah, it's definitely a morbid curiosity, but I really enjoyed reading it. I liked the way she, went from one step to the other and tied all the pieces together, and gave a bit of a voice to those people who were created into books. Kind of creepy, really cool. So anyway, it's called Dark Archives, and I'll link it below if you're interested in that kind of thing. I thought it was really good. So I think that's it for what I've been up to. How about I take you into the garden and show you what's going on in there?
Nothing is untrue, nothing don't matter. It's all notions of our emotions, of everything we are and what we belong to, how we reach our destination. Shadows fading light. We're caught in burning fire, almost falling from the sky, and the sun may tear the wings.
So just a quick peek into the garden's amazingness right now. You can see it is growing like gangbusters. The squash and the cucumbers are really growing up the trellises, which I love. And the cool thing that I realized now that I'm under the squash is that you can see any pests or bugs a lot better than I could when the squash was on the ground, so I'm able to take better care of them. And we've got some little, let's find the baby. Aha! Here's a baby tromboncino squash right here. They can get super big. And I've got peas coming in. I think it's about time to harvest. We've got snap peas, snow peas, and shelling peas. And here's some cucumbers growing up here. Little baby cucumbers. They're all doing really well. The only thing that's not doing well, unfortunately, are the tomatoes. They look big and tall, but every single one of them has this crazy curly leaf. And from my research, it looks like they got hit by an herbicide. I thought it might be in the straw or even in the soil. All that soil I put in all these big red raised beds. But my mother-in-law's having the same problem with hers. She lives right up the hill. And she didn't use the soil or the straw that I used. So we think it could have been a local farmer that sprayed some herbicide, and tomatoes are extremely affected by certain herbicides. And you can see just kind of how funky the leaf looks. It's really tough, and the new growth just doesn't look great. They are trying to put out some tomatoes, and this one right here is definitely on the way out. I might pull this one. I will pull this one and maybe put in a new one, and hopefully it'll do all right, but we'll see. The beans aren't doing great either, probably for the same reason, because they are also affected by that kind of herbicide. But the rest of it, I mean, look at how big that zucchini is. It's massive. And the carrots are growing, the elder's looking fantastic. I've got a huge forest of ground cherries in here. I mean, everything's taller than I am. The kale is just about done. I pulled half of it. The The peppers are starting to take off. You can see I pulled all of the straw just in case that's what had the herbicide, and I put in newspapers instead as a mulch, but I don't think that's what it was. And this zucchini, like, here's my hand. It's huge. So yeah, it's doing really well, and I am very excited. This is the first year that I feel like I've had a good harvest of food because I'm not having to fuss with bad soil or too much shade. So it's been really nice. These are all raspberries, and they are just starting to come in, and that's probably my favorite fruit. That little bitty asparagus in the last video, that's that. This tall forest of things that are like 7 feet tall now. I picked as much as I wanted and let a few others grow, and some of these will put out some really pretty red berries in the fall, which is nice. But yeah, it's looking good over here. Oh, and up the hill, let me show you. The dahlias have just started blooming. So you see these, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a few more on the other side, and I've just planted some new ones by those stakes. Those are all my dahlias, and I like the big dinner plate dahlias is what they're called. And it's hard to see. There's one that's just starting to bloom. I've only picked one so far, and all the rest of them are still little. They're getting there. And then behind it, you see that big fence? We used more hog wire. I planted some more beans to see if those would do a little better over here. Clary sage, tansy, fennel, and all the blueberries. Look at these, just starting to come in. So tasty. What is your favorite berry or fruit? If you could only survive with one, what would be the one that you would want to have in your yard forevermore? And then here we are back here. I imagine the garlic's going to be ready in the next couple of weeks. I've already cut the scapes, which are like the garlic flowers that you take off so that the garlic energy goes to the bulb and not the flower. The milkweed is a little cafe for all of the butterflies. All the pollinators are loving it this year. And then next to it, next to the milkweed is bee balm. So there's lots of pollination going on. And then over here we have a very full, very healthy indigo bed. I need to make some plans on what I'm going to do with that. I might do some fresh indigo dyeing this year. And Leaf's fennel bed. And the bulbs, as you can see, are getting nice and fat. We might be able to harvest 1 or 2 in the next couple weeks. Hey guys, so I have my lavender bundle here. I have gotten really long stems so that I can fold them backwards. I'll show you what we're doing. Fold them backwards over the lavender to make a bundle or wand that way. These are probably a good 12 to 15 inches long. I'm also harvesting lavender that hasn't fully bloomed yet. They're still in little budding, their little bud phase, because the essential oils are stronger during that time, and it's easier to make a lavender wand when they're closed. The next thing I'm going to do is take the lavender and have the bottoms of each flowering spike at about the same level, because I'm going to tie them off underneath it. And once I do that, I'm going to lay it down and put a ribbon in the center. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so here is my lavender bundle. I'm going to use a black ribbon, and I'm going to lay it out about 6 to 8 inches past the tips of the lavender. And once I weave my lavender bundle, this end will be used as one of the ends to tie a ribbon or tie a bow. So I'm going to kind of circle it in the center, just like that. Then I'm going to take some of this, you can use a rubber band or twine or whatever you've got. I'm just going to tie it nice and tight right below, right here. That's what we'll do next. So this is going to hold the bundle nice and snug. I'm going to tie it nice and tight. Okay. The next thing you're going to want to do is take each lavender spike and bend it back over itself. And you'll go around a circle doing that. You can use your fingernail and just kind of press it into it to help give it a little dent so it bends in the right place. Some of them might snap and break, and that's fine. But you'll just go around in a circle and bend them all down over the lavender. Some people will just bend them over the lavender, like making a little cage for the lavender, and then just tie it off below, and that's a cute look. But if you want to do the weaving, then this is how you do it. Okay. So this is kind of fiddly part, and it gets easier the more you do. You take the ribbon and you go over and under, basically. Well, I'll start going under, then over the next one. So under this one, over this one, under this one, over the next one. And you just keep going around. The first one is really fiddly, and then once you get to the end, you pull it nice and snug. And like I said, if you start with an odd number, it should work out perfectly. Okay, so I've done 2 rounds. This ribbon is probably a little bit big for it, but this is the only one I had. This is a 3/8 inch ribbon, so maybe a 1/4 inch would be better. But basically, I'm just continuing to go around, going over one and under the next, and I'll keep doing that all the way around. When I get to the end of each row, I give a nice tug to make sure it's nice and snug, and then I keep on going. Once I get to the bottom, I will tie it off and make a ribbon with what's left of, make a bow with what's left of this ribbon and some of this. And then you can trim this to whatever length you want. And I'll show you when I get there. All right, here it is. Sorry, it's that cool part of the evening while the kids are playing outside and people are mowing their lawns, so it's got a little noisy out here. But as you can see, I continued weaving over and under. One of them broke while I was doing it, so I had to double it up in a couple of spots. But it still works. It's got some lavender peeking through, and I'm just going to take some snippers and probably cut it around here, and then I'm going to put this in Kaya's hope chest to make everything smell nice, and it'll just dry like this. And as I said, I just brought the ribbon down, wrapped it around a few times right here, and then tied it in a bow, and it's good to go. A lavender wand. And my friends, I think that's it. I hope you have an amazing month. I'm not sure when I'll see you again, but I'm sure I will see you again. And my love to you. Take care of yourselves.